and welcome back to Darvanalee Designs Studio. For those that don't know, my name's Nicole Reed and today we are here for another bowl cozy tutorial and a different take on it this time. We've got some round corners, so let's get started. So we're back for another humble bowl cozy, and this time we're going to be doing it a little bit different again from the last two that I've done. We've got our square one where we don't do anything to the corners. We've got our corners that have now been taken off, and this one we are going to do is going to have round corners. All right, so I've got my bowl. I've already cut my measurements out. Now you need to go back to watch our original video, and that will show you how to basically measure any bowl that you're going to be doing it for, and then you can just make the cozies to suit your all your dishes that you have. All right, so I've got this old bowl here that I thought, well, it's a round one, so it goes with a rounded corner one, and I've had these style ones for quite some time, and this one is just one that I use to chuck bits and pieces in the kitchen, so like keys or you know, coins or anything that doesn't belong in the kitchen that seems to accumulate. That's why it's all scratched on the bottom. But I thought, well, I'll make a rounded bowl cozy for it, and that'll dress it up instead of it being just a boring plain bowl. So like always, we need 100% cotton in everything, including in our sewing machine, and don't forget about your bobbin. We're going to need some general sewing supplies. Wonder clips come in very handy, but if you don't have any, that is okay. You can actually just use pins for this. All right, so like always, we are just going to do some really simple quilting, and what we do to one, we do to the other. All right, so we grab our fabric and we just place it down and center that all up. If your fabric's a little bit bigger, that's okay. We can trim that up after we have actually done the quilting. And to do the quilting, all we're going to do is take our pen and we're going to take our ruler, and I need a longer one. And from corner to corner, you're going to mark a line, and then you're going to do the same on the other one. And as I said, if you want to know what size to cut your fabric and everything, you'll need to refer to the original video where I show you how to measure your bowls, and that is carded up down up the top, and you will also find it as a link down the bottom as well in the comments and also in the show notes. All right, so once you've got that done, what you're going to do is you're going to pop some pins in there just like we've done before. And then what we'll do is head over to the sewing machine and we will stitch that down. Now remember, what we do to one, we must do to the other. Okay, so let's head over to the sewing machine and stitch that down. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to, like always, we're going to put our darts in, but I'm going to give that a little bit of a press first. Alright, so next what we're going to do is we're going to fold that in half, grab some wonder clips, do the same to the other one. Okay, so we're at our darts in. Like on our other video, you go up 1 inch on the sides, and then on the fold we come down 2 inches, and what we do to one, we do to the other. Alright, so let's head over to the sewing machine and stitch those down. Do a back stitch at the beginning and at the end. Okay, so we've done that. Now what we do is we bring our scissors in, and we're just going to cut about 1/4 of an inch away and take a little bit of a triangle out on both sides. And we do that to the other one as well. Okay. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to bring those darts up to one another and flatten it out, and then put some darts down the bottom as well. Okay, so just flatten that out. Make sure that your fabric is not all folded up in there. Okay, and then I will just, like I did last time, make the marks, draw the lines, and stitch it down. Okay, so let's go and sew that down. Okay, so we now have our darts in. We'll just take out that little bit of fabric out of there on both of them. And then what we're going to do is we'll turn one out the right way, one in the wrong way, and then we'll put them together and line up our darts, and one to clip them into place. Now what we're going to do is we're going to round our corners. And all I do is I just use something that is round, and then I will line up the fabrics, place that on, and I'll get the edge of the circle to come to the edge of the fabric, and then I'll grab my chalk or friction pen and I will create a curve, and then with my scissors I just snip that out of the way. Okay, and I just take that little bit off, and then I'll pop a wonder clip on there, and that's going to hold it in place. And then I'm going to repeat that all the way around. Okay, so our bowl cozy now has its rounded corners, and we've got our wonder clips sitting there and holding it all in place. Now we need to leave an opening, and I like to do this where I'm not going to be on a curve or I'm not going to be near a dart. So I will just make a 2-inch gap just after a curve and just before a dart. Okay, and then when I do a 1/4 inch seam allowance, I will start here, go all the way around, doing a back stitch at the beginning and then also doing a back stitch at the end. Then we pull it through and top stitch it. So let's head over to the sewing machine and do that. Alright, so we have stitched that all down. Get rid of any long threads that will be in the way. Grab your pinking shears, and we're going to go around the outside because we've got curves. We want them to sit nicely. So just using your pinking shears, snip off any excess without going into your stitching. And what this does, it just helps when you're top stitching that you won't get a lot of bulk in that seam while you're trying to stitch through it. And it also helps doing this. If you don't have pinking shears on your corners, all you need to do is put little notches, like little V's like this is making, and that will help it ease into it helps the seam ease out. But I just use pinking shears because it's just so much easier. Now where I have stopped and started, I'm not actually pinking that because I want that extra fabric there to go into the seam, so when I stitch it closed it won't open back up again. So I just come up to that and then just go off, and then I just leave that bit there. Alright, so this is going to be a little bit tight to turn through, and that's because of the curves. We didn't want to start and stop on a curve, and so it's going to be a little bit tight, but it is doable. So all you need to do is find your opening, and you're just going to put your fingers in there. You go to the opposite side, put your index finger into the corner, and then grab it with your thumb, and you're just going to turn it out. And then just slowly but surely pull that out. Now you don't want to rush it, you just want to gently pull it out. And you can see as I'm doing it, I'm sort of twisting and turning to go to the different areas of the seams and just pull that through. And I'm just doing it nice and gently because we don't want to pop our little seam out that our little opening, like we don't want to pop the seam there. So just go nice and gentle. I do pop it quite often if I'm not careful, because I get, you know, got a bit time constraints and stuff, and I get a little bit carried away. But once it's all turned through, we'll grab our iron and give it a really good press, and then we'll head over to the sewing machine and top stitch that down, and then we will be done. So there you go. As I said, it is a bit of a tight fit, and that's only because we've got the curves, and because we don't want to start and stop on a curve, because that can make it look a little bit messy. All right, so once you've got that all turned out, just push all those seams out, just by putting your fingers in and just rolling around and getting those curves to come out. All right, including the one where you have got your fingers in. So you can see there it's starting to curve. So what we'll do is we'll just grab our poking device and or poking tool, and we'll just run that around those curves and near our darts to get those seams to come out a little bit better. Okay, and roll that out. All right. Now we can give it a really good press, but before we do, I just like to roll those seams with my fingers and at the darts as well, and we'll get that closed, our opening closed as well. All right. Okay. That corner does not want to come out. Get in there. Get it out. There we go. That's better. All right. As you can see, it's sitting nicely. But now what we'll do is we'll give it a really good press, and we're just going to pop that seam in there. So you just put your finger in that hole, and then we can close that up. Let's give it a bit of a roll there because it's not coming out. And we close that up. Just pop a couple of wonder clips there. And then we'll grab our iron and ironing pad, and we'll give it a really good press, and then we'll head over to the sewing machine and top stitch it closed. So when you're pressing, you want to get your seams to be sitting nice and flush. You don't want more blue coming into the grey. I mean, you could if you want to, but we want them to be even. So you can see there that they're nice and even, and give those darts a bit of a press as well, and that'll get that seam to settle down for you. Okay, now when we come to our opening, I just like to just take those wonder clips off. If it's a bigger opening, I'll just take one wonder clip off at a time, and then I just finger press it, but then I'll get the tip of my iron and just give that a really good press, and that's going to help to keep that closed when we start sewing and doing the top stitching. All right, so I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. It's hot, so it's definitely pressed. I think I've just got to do a little bit of pressing on this one and get that to sit a bit flat. There we go, that's better. All right, so now all we're going to do is head over to the sewing machine and top stitch that down, and then our bowl cozy is ready to use. Okay, so that is our bowl cozy. It is all top stitched, and it's completely reversible, and it's got our round corners, and so we can pop our bowl in it, and you can see there it matches it nicely. Now if you do have bowls like this, all you can do is you can turn it that way as well, and then that way you've got a bit more grip for your when you pick it up. All right, so that's the humble bowl cozy with rounded corners. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I do hope that you enjoyed making the round cornered bowl cozy. You're going to have a myriad of different designs in your kitchen before you know it. So thank you again for stopping by, clicking on this video and taking the time to watch. Don't forget to share it across the social with your friends. Give us a thumbs up down below. And if you're a returning viewer or new here and you've yet to subscribe, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon beside it. And then that way you're not going to miss out on any future posts. But that's it from me today. Happy sewing, everybody, and I'll see you all again next time. Bye for now.